Hello Van Hackers, how are you doing? Today we're going to talk about how to prepare for a QA tech interview, right? So, my name is Gabriel, I am a QA automation engineer, and I am one of the tech mentors from Van Hack. I am a QA tech mentor from Van Hack. So, as long as you want to find me, you can reach me from on Slack and on LinkedIn, right? Here's my link to find me, right? So, introduction. In this presentation, we'll find some of the technologies and concepts most used on this field, as well as common questions and how to answer them. But before we get started, we have 4 points to bear in our mind before we prepare for interviews and for talking about technologies and concepts about tests and quality assurance, right? The first one, study and know the company you are applying for. It's extremely important. It's a must. You must know about the company you're applying for because they want to know if you have research about them and if you know the technology they use and the business of they and so on, right? The second point is connect every single requirement of the job position to yourself. So study the job requirement as well, because when you know the requirements of the position, you know that you can fit every single requirement of the job position and your skills. And when you start the interview itself, you can show that you are the best fit for that position, right? The third point is prepare yourself to the interview by watching Van Hack videos and reading articles. What I mean with this, be prepared watching some examples and some experience that others has took to the on other interviews, and study by the articles that we have on our website and so on, right? And after that, the 4 point is we hack together, right? You can rock on your interview, right? So let's get started right now. I have spare Aristotle quote that says, "Quality is not an act; it's an habit." Uh, as long as you work as a QA, you know that is so. How can I say? It's so natural for us because we have to think about quality. We're delivering projects and delivering our demands. So think about this quote and keep it in your mind, right? Why so important? It's really important to assure the quality of my system or product. Quality in general is related to the client expectations. When we reach the quality, we reach satisfaction. And when we find satisfaction, we use to overcome the expectations. Also, when we deliver quality, people used to be leaded to confidence. Hence, confidence leads to the popularity. You can understand what it means. You need to work as quality assurance, thinking about quality in general, because when someone buys some products, for example, they trust in the quality of the product, and hence we are thinking about the satisfaction of the client. And after that, of course, they can share the product to their colleagues and to the neighborhoods. I don't know. So it's very important to think about quality to get the confidence of the client, right? And we must question ourselves every day with these following questions when testing. This product or system work as the client expected? This product or system work as the developer expected? Is the software always working properly? These questions lead us to the quality, because when you're thinking about it, we're thinking about how to do our job every day, our tasks. So it's very important to keep these three questions in your mind, right? What about bugs? When you're talking about bugs, it's about our job, our purpose. So how can we measure the quantity or the quality of our job? It's very important to bear in mind that that's the we must have a number to express our job and to show the value of our job. So I have made a research about the bugs, and if I have found that up to 100 times more expensive it could be our bug when you're talking about correcting them or delaying them to next phase of our development life cycle, right? So the costs go up as the bug moves through the software development life cycle. For example, IBM estimates that if a bug costs $100 to fix in gathering requirements phase, it would be $1,500 in QA testing phase and $10,000 also in production. The fact of the matter is that a software bug can affect everything from indirect costs like customer loyalty and brand reputation to more direct losses and business revenue and waste time, right? So it's very important to know about some numbers about our job to show the interviewers that you are interested in your area, of course, that you know what you're doing, and to show them that you know what you do every day, right? So let's go to common QA mistakes, right? Sometimes we are leaded to deliver more quantity and we forget the quality. Keep in mind some tips to stay thinking about what really matters for our client. The first one, everything can be automated. It's a common mistake, right? And we're not talking about automation. When we are talking about quality and testing, the first thing that comes to our mind is wasting time with repetitive tasks such as manual tests, but we have to understand that in some cases we just can't automate everything. Areas like user interface documentation, installation, compatibility, and recovery testing must be done manually. Right? The second one is only automation matters. So we use to make scripts and automate tasks, but we cannot forget our manual tests. Our exploratory or even usability test is as important as regression and smoke tests. We should think about user experience also, right? So another one. It's all about testing. It's a common mistake. When you are responsible for the whole system or product, we must think about the quality, not only the test concept. So we have to feel the client's needs as long as they are having a nice experience. Next one, enemy of the developers. I love this topic. Don't forget to be a team player always. Developers are not our enemy, and we have to deliver better products and solutions to our clients together. It is also our responsibility to spread the quality culture wherever we are. Next one. Less time, less quality. Every day we have to plan our tasks, and sometimes we have they have to be redesigned. When we have less time to deliver some functionality, it doesn't mean that we have to deliver everything. So there we have to order the high priority ones and plan again. So don't forget these topics. It's important to show them that you know that you're working as a QA not to test but to assure the quality of the system or product, and you have in your blood, you have in your veins these concepts of QA, not about testing only, right? So let's talk about some common QA tech questions. Throughout these informations, you can make better decisions when choosing the right answer and linking it to your purpose, right? Before we get started to talking about QA tech questions, let's think about this quote from Scott Barber. Only conducting performance or functional tests at the conclusion of the system is like conducting a diagnostic blood test on a patient who is already dead. It's huge. It's very important to bear in mind that we have to think about testing on the beginning, is testing in the development, testing together with the developer, and thinking about testing in all the phases of the life cycle of the development. So it's very important, and thinking about this quote, right? First, common QA tech questions. Tell me about your daily task. It's very important here to understand that that's the time to show what you know, to show your linkings, to show that you are a best fit for the position, a best match, to show them that you are a person that has all the requirements of the job position, right? And it's your time, it's your pitch. That's your best time to correlate your activities and the job description. It's very important also to be original and say what you really do on your daily tasks. Say that you have been working with methodology XYZ, that you use some technologies also, and do not forget to give real examples to illustrate situations. Remember, give as much as examples as you have to show them that you are a perfect fit for the position. Show examples using requirements, traceability metrics, RTM, tools that you use to managing bugs and activities such as Jira, Maintains, Bugzilla, etc. And if you have experience automating tests, show them every tool you use to do that. Selenium, KTP, etc. Right? It's very important to show all about your experience, but don't be so long in your explanations, because it's not going to be. You have to stay out of doing it very boring. So they're going to talk to you and to have a conversation. So it's important to keep a conversation, to keep talking. So talk about your technologies, ask them for something, and keep talking about the position and what you do, right? When not to automate tests, it's a common QA automation tech question. It must be clear to the recruiter that you know when it's possible to automate tests or tasks. Keep in mind that every answer have to give concrete examples. For instance, we cannot automate tests when we have a lot of changes on the code that affect our scripts. Also, we must not automate tests when we will execute only one time the tests, right? It's very important. An obvious reason is that as long as the team doesn't have the skills to do so, if you have not the skills on your team, it is impossible to automate things, right? Here's some examples, but you can dig deeper on this by looking for your personal experience, and you can search about these concepts on the internet as well, right? Which automation challenges could a QA face? It's a question about your job, about your experience behind the scenes. So some of the challenges of the challenge teams could face while testing is automate complex scenarios such as using several operation systems, mobile, web, desktop, database, API, mainframe, etc., as well as mastering the automation tool. We must think about the reusability of automation scripts and adaptability of test case automation. It's one of the important topics to answer this tech question, right? Next one. What is the difference between TDD and BDD? In test-driven development, TDD, the test is written to check the implementation of functionality, but as the code evolves, Tests can give false results. Behavior-driven development is also a test-first approach, but differs by testing the actual behavior of the system from the end-user perspective. It's important because nowadays most of the companies is using BDD, and it's important to know the difference because some of the companies is using TDD concepts. So it's important to know the difference to show them what is the best solution for the product or for the company, right? Next one. Which is the different type of software testing? It may be a tricky question. Just for tester knowledge about testing, even if you don't use these techniques, but here are some of them. Unit testing, integration and regression testing, smoke testing, performance testing, system testing, and component testing. It's important to know every black box testing, white box concepts to dig deeper, as I told you in some questions before. That you do not must do only study about this tests on this presentation, but you have to dig deeper to study about tests. Be prepared for every question, right? Be prepared for every single aspect of QA. Next one, did you have work within an agile environment? Another tricky question. Do not forget to give concrete examples for your answer. If you have worked within an agile environment, talk about your daily activities such as meetings, how often you do planning meetings, how long time during your daily meetings, and so on. Talk about your daily difficulties also to maintain a cool conversation. Keep asking about their problems and how they overcome them. It's important to show your interest for the position and the company you are applying for. It's very important, right? So next one, what you have done beyond your job description. Companies are looking for candidates above the average, so that do not be tempted to say only what you do, but show examples from your team that you do a great job beyond your job description. You can show them your creations, solutions, and values that you bring for the team, improving performance or even productivity. It can be a technical conversation as well, as long as you build some framework solutions or even work among the developers or other areas as DevOps, etc. Right? It's a very important question because candidates will be at the average because they know the same job description, the same skills, they have the same skills, and it's important to know something more. So if you know more language, if you know more tools or more technology, it's very important to say when answer this question, right? And even if you answer another questions, you can insert these techniques that inside this question in your answers, like what you have created or what you have built, some framework solutions, and so on. Right. Next one, which tools, language, and frameworks have you used to automate tests? Nowadays, it's most common to find QA engineers with a wide range of new language as well as new technologies. To answer this question, you must look to your automation activities and be prepared to talk about why language A is better than language B performing such tasks. Also, where to use Selenium or Appium and do not use Calabash. Why using native HTTP requests from language and not using frameworks such as HTTP or even Postman. The main point here is to show them that you know why you are using such technology or framework. It's important to show them that you know what you're doing, not only doing things that they used to request for you, but you have to be how can I say, like a self control. So you know what you do, you know what is the best technology, and things like this. Have you worked with CI/CD and Git before? When you're working as a QA engineer, you are responsible for the quality of the whole project. Companies used to have pipelines where they deliver and integrate their products fastly. Tools like Jenkins can do this job, but be prepared for also to answer questions about DevOps concepts, as they are looking for someone who can understand in which part of the pipeline will enter the tests and if you know about continuous testing. Also, show your experiences using versioning control tools like Git or others to create branches and separate your work from the master branch. Right? It's very important to use these techniques when you're talking about coding, because when you're coding, for example, in a single thread or single branch, for example, you have another something like a hard job to do, because you have to separate your code. It cannot be integrated with another ones. That's so important to use uh, tools like Git to versioning control. And you can work as a team, of course, and there's no wall to separate for you from your team, and you can integrate your code and things like this, as well as pipeline. When you're using pipelines, you can continuous testing, and you can insert your tests to do every single, when every build happens, you can test automatically. Next one. Which kinds of techniques you use to automate tests? The main techniques and best practice to automate tests are using data-driven tests, page object pattern, parallel execution, and more. Right? So data-driven test automation places test data as the prime factor. Note that this method enables test script to interface with different sets of data without needing changes to the test case. Page object pattern allows us to create objects repository within elements in a web page. This class gets all the web elements and methods of the page. Right? It's it's a huge importance. Last but not least, as our script grows, we must think about parallel tests to avoid wasting time. When I'm talking about, for example, browsers, uh, when talking about automation UI, it's most common. We have some problems because we have to do this as an end user. So automation tests that interacts with UI, it must be shown, or of course you can automate it as headless, but this use some resource of the machine. So we have to doing separate tests to test about another browsers like Firefox or Internet Explorer and Chrome and other ones such as Safari and Opera and maybe Edge. I don't know. You can think about parallel tests using such browsers, right? So next one. No, that's final. We'll talk about the final tips. So the final tips is stay tuned and every word you say. They are evaluating you. It's very important to say what you know, not what you will learn or you learned before. You know at this moment is the thing they are looking for a candidate, right? Final tip is don't forget the soft skills. When you're talking about QA, it's very important. Talk about a very There's a huge importance about talking the soft skills, because when some job position, for example, require that you has a communication skills, communication easy to do that. It's very important to say that you have this requirement also, Because if you say then that you have not the requirement, that you are not going good your communication, uh, that may be a tricky for you, because they require this. So it's not only tech questions that matter. So you have to think about your soft skills also. So even when having a tech talk, they are looking for a candidate that match the soft skills also. When answering all the questions, do not be so humble, since you are selling yourself. But in other hand, do not sound arrogant. Try to stay on the job description. For example, do not say you have communication problems if they need a person who will coach other tech employees, and so on. So show them that you are a perfect and great match for the position, and everything will be good, right? So that's all. Maybe we have some more things to share with you, because it's one of our most common questions that interviewers and recruiters has asked for us, and it's important to know these questions to answer correctly to them, right? It's important as well to study these questions, and if you don't know some tips and some points of the answers, uh, you keep studying. Please keep studying and keeping the page, because they are looking for candidates that have these clear concepts in their minds. It's important also to stay tuned. So if you don't know automation, please study about automation, because we have so many positions on the market that require that you have experience automating tasks, because it's the future. The future is automating things, and to have more time to do tests that must be manually, right? So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know. You can find me on Slack as Gabs. You can find me on LinkedIn as well, and you can share about some another concepts, and talk about QA and concepts and testing and automation, and for sure we'll have a great experience, right? So see you there, and have a nice day.